There's a lot to unpackage here, but it's going to be worth our time. And
Okay.
we'll help you negotiate it. I'm going to tell you one of the stories that I wanted to tell you before we get into your specific question about the listing. So there's a bunch of settlers or pioneers living in Southeast Pacific, and they're traveling through the country hundreds of years ago, and they're trying to find a homeland. And this is a story. Hey, good morning, Adam. Just wanted to say hi. So they're hiking through the terrain, and they're highly elevated, and they can see down that there's this giant river that's miles and miles long. And they know they got to cross it, so they go towards it. And as they get towards it, it's rapids, whitewater, class 5. I mean, water's just gushing down, and it's treacherous. So they don't know how they're going to cross it, but it would take them months, years to get to the other side of the river. So they throw a log in to see if they could maybe hold on to a log and somehow get across the river. The point is that we face challenges in life. So they're faced with a challenge. And how we think about those challenges determines our success or our failures. So there's no chance that that log thing's going to work. So they go out and they start whacking up bamboo. And they tie a bunch of bamboo together, and they make this giant raft, and they build some oars. And that's the solution to their problem. So they put the raft in the water, they hop on, and man, they're fighting for their lives. The river just wants to take them away and flip them over. They manage to get to the other side. They all hug and embrace each other and go, oh my God, thank God we're alive. We survived. Mm-hmm. So they strap the raft to their back because the raft saved their life. They don't want to get rid of the raft. What if they come in contact with another river? So they're hiking through the terrain, and they come through a densely populated bamboo forest. And all the bamboo is, inches, 6, 8, 10 inches apart. And the raft on their back is preventing them from getting through the forest. Problem number 2. But they don't want to let go of the raft. So the moral to the story is, what traditions, what beliefs, what things do we need to maybe let go of so that we can navigate these challenges? So when I hear, is your commission negotiable, and agents say no, that's traditional. That's Mike Ferry 101. No, it's not. Do you have any other questions? As we learn, that didn't sit well. That's not the solution to this problem. I'm going to give you the solution, so hang in with me, but I want to teach you to fish, not just give you a fish. So the other thing that came up in that dialogue, she said that, homes are gone in a weekend. It takes weeks, and you're making so much money. One thing I want you to take down is that she's not just hiring you to sell your home. And I'll say it Brian Moses' way. I wouldn't say this to her, but I want to use language that's shocking to really land on you. I would say something to the effect, in your own words, any asshole can sell your house. So if you're just hiring someone to sell your house, yeah, the commission matters. But if you're hiring someone to avoid all the landmines, all the problems, to get your home sold at the highest price, that's where you want to focus her attention.
And I said that. I said, getting a contract is the easy part. Then we really go to work, making sure that everything gets to the closing table and we reach our final destination.
Yeah. So when you listen to the recording, listen to, and I'll do the same. Listen to how you delivered it. Mm-hmm. Listen to how I delivered it. Anybody with a real estate license, Mrs. Seller, can sell your house. That's not the only thing that matters. There's over 117 different variables, landmines. Whitewater, Rapids, forests full of bamboo, right? Let's name them. There's a million things that can go wrong in a transaction that could be catastrophic to you financially. You do want to avoid those too, right? So let's go back and unpackage this a little bit. You did a lot of things right, and I wasn't there, but at what point did you know it was going to be a two-step and that you weren't going to go over the CMA?
From the get-go.
You knew that it was going to be a two-step.
Yep, I had that conversation with her on the phone that, I need to come over. I'll be able to give you an estimated value, but once I come through and I see the house, that's when I need to come back and do my homework.
Did you do your listing presentation?
Mm-hmm.
You did. So
yes.
When it's a two-step, we'll navigate this. But in the future, if you know it's a two-step, don't do the listing presentation.
Okay.
You're just there to gather the information. I love the agency disclosure too, by the way. I really love how you utilized it and made it separate you from everybody else. However, it wasn't enough. At the end of the day, commission was still a factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want commission to be a no-brainer. Oh, you charge 8%? Geez, that's a lot of money, but okay. That's really the goal that we're going for. Commission shouldn't matter. It should be checkmate. So in the future, if you're doing it a two-step, you want to have momentum as you're going through it. So the agency disclosure piece was great. I would say, anybody that can give you a price without having seen your house, that should be a little suspect.
Yep.
I've got to go back and do my work and do the market research. There's a bottom of the market. There's a top of the market. I imagine you want to sell at the top of the market. I can come back on Friday or Sunday and we can go over all that. So I'm just going to go through the house. I'm not even taking really a lot of notes. I'm not measuring the house. I'm not doing any of that traditional shit that everybody else does. I don't want to be like everybody else. This is probably a good place for me to insert the second story about how people think. So there was a Stanford professor, and he broke his classroom up into 4 parts, 4 groups. And he said, there's 3 things, and I want you guys to write the 3 things down and think about how you would navigate what a Stanford professor's task and assignment is. So he goes, I'm going to break you up into 4 groups, group A, B, C, D. And each of you are going to be given $5. Each of your groups are going to be given $5. Your job is you have 2 hours to turn that $5 into as much money as you possibly can. And then you're going to come back and you're going to present in the next class in a 3-minute presentation what you did, why you did it, how you arrived at it, and teach the class. And the winner gets an A, second place gets a B, third place gets a C, and fourth place gets an F. So Stanford, you don't want to get an F, flunk out of class. So the first group, they put their thinking caps on. They've got 2 hours. The clock starts ticking and they go, let's go buy lemonade. Let's go buy lemons. We'll buy some cups. Water's free and we'll sell lemonade. So they did that. But $5 only buys so many lemonades. So then the second group goes, let's go buy a sponge, some soap, and a bucket, and we'll do a car wash. And they outperform the lemonade, but you can only do so many cars in 2 hours. The third group said, I think the $5 is a distraction. Let's not focus on the $5. They called local restaurants, made reservations for Saturday night, Friday night, peak times, and then they went online and sold the reservations. They didn't even use the $5. And they outperformed group 1 and 2. Pretty innovative. So they made more money and didn't even use the $5. But the fourth group thought the $5 was a distraction. And they also thought that $2 was the distraction. They thought that the most valuable asset was the 3-minute presentation. And they called corporations and they auctioned off 3 minutes to speak in front of Stanford students, because they know that these companies want to hire Stanford students. And they sold that for $1,650 and won the class. So I thought about that and I go, how do we think about solving problems? I would have never thought that way. But I do look at different angles. And the easiest thing in our business, the easiest, best advice I can give you is, if everybody's doing what you're doing, that's the wrong thing to do. If other agents are saying, when asked, is your commission negotiable? And they just blurt out no, that's the wrong thing to do. Mike Ferry taught me that in 1992, 1993. And do you know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars that cost me over a 4 or 5 year period? Because tons, because it didn't solve the problem. I didn't differentiate my value. Mm-hmm. There's 2 things that will motivate this woman to list with you and pay you a premium. Pleasure, getting the highest money, navigating the transaction, and avoiding that pain. We've got to do a better job of listing it out. So in the future, if it's a 2-step, don't do the presentation. Let's just outline the framework for the future, and then I'll tell you what I would do here today, and we'll solve this problem. And hopefully you'll crush it. And I'm just going to make a note here: Bamboo River story and the Stanford professor solving a problem. I want you to marinate on that and think about how you can look at things differently. Do you remember you probably have heard the story where in the old days, ovens were so small, so moms would cut the ends off the ham at Easter, throw the ends away so that it would fit in the oven. And people kept doing that for years and years, but the ovens today fit a whole ham. Mm-hmm. When I look at real estate and I look at the unproductive, I'll use language, stupid things we engage ourselves in because everybody else does it. And this isn't at the time for me to stand on my soapbox and talk about attending home inspections. But really, I'm not a home inspector. That's the stupidest thing ever. Now, there's no judgment if you attend them, but maybe we should think about how else can we optimize our relationship with our client. I actually don't attend home inspections and have my buyers love me for not attending. I turn it into a benefit. I look at things very differently. So the listing presentation, here's the framework. So you got the intro, 1 step or 2. Okay, if it's 2, we just gather information and we explain why we're coming back, as I outlined with you. It would be impossible for somebody to show you where the top of the market is without doing any homework. Anybody who does that should be cause for suspicion or a little bit of suspect. You deserve more than that, Mr. Seller, okay? So then when I get back, we're going to manage expectations of the meeting. So if it's a 1-step appointment, this is where I pick up. I'm managing expectations. When you go back, I want you to recap the highlights of what makes you and RE/MAX different than everybody else. So how that's going to sound, and it is transcribed for you in my listing presentation so you can study it and sharpen your skills. Because let's face it, a $600,000 house at 3%, that's a lot of money, right? It's worth spending a couple of hours to get this right and really practice. So managing expectations sounds like this. Hey, it was great to meet you last week. Appreciate you showing me the home. I'm really excited to go over the market with you. I've done a lot of research, and generally when I sit back, come back and meet with people like you, they want to know three things. They want to know, what is the value of my house? And if you talk with 15 agents, you're going to get 15 different numbers. However, there is a bottom of the market, Mr. Seller, and there is a top of the market. And if you want to sell your home at the top of the market, we'll look at that data in a moment. But because you and I don't control the market, I'm going to cover that last, okay? So I let them know I'm going to talk about price, but I let them know that we're not going right into price, because that's what they expect when you come back. I want you to control this meeting, right? The doctor controls the surgery. The doctor controls the appointment. The second thing sellers want to know is time-wise, is now the right time to sell? What's going on in the market? What factors influence price? When is the best time to sell? So when we look at pricing, we'll talk about timing as well, Mr. Seller. So that's number 2, managing expectations. And the third thing that we'll start with is, what is the single greatest factor that determines whether or not you give your home away or you sell it for above market? Any ideas? And I say that to the seller, any ideas? There is one factor, one variable. Did the other agents go over that with you? What is the one thing that determines whether or not you sell your home at the bottom of the market or you sell your home for above market? Any idea what that is, Mr. Seller? And they go, advertising, communication, whatever they say, they'll never get it right. They'll never get it right. And I always say, well, that's a good guess. I hear that a lot. That's important, but that's not it. The one thing, and this is called priming, or setting the buying criteria, buying/decision-making criteria. This is Tony Robbins right here. What is the one thing? They go, marketing. Well, good guess. No, it's actually the agent you select. Do you know why that is? What do you think? Why is it the agent you select? So now I'm telling her, I've got her attention, that the agent you select makes the difference whether you sell your home here or here. I'm not just saying, handling a commission objection, going, we'll get you more money. I'm doing it in the process. So I want you to start, when you go back, I want you to start with this, okay, Chris? Are you cool with that?
Yep.
Now we're going to do a little recap about the agent. And what are your top 3 benefits? So if you've already did them, I want you to recap them. In the future, you won't recap them. You'll just hit the top 3 benefits right here. So what are your top 3 benefits?
Past experience.
Okay.
Sales.
Explain that. Sell me on that.
Over the past 2 years, I've sold 35 houses in Merrimack alone. And this is a list of the different properties that I've had. This is this price that we put it on for, and this is what we closed them for.
Great. So can you translate what the results of that 35 sales are? Now, understand, they think everybody does that.
Right.
Car salesmen think that people buying cars think everybody sells lots of cars. They think everybody else sells a lot. So I want you to go a little wider and say, did the other agents share with you how many homes they've sold in the town of Merrimack? Because I bet you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who's done better than you. That's impressive.
Okay.
But you got to connect those dots. So did the other agents? I'm just curious, so the way I would sell that benefit, and it matters, right? The devil's in the details. Fucking sell it, Chris. Sell this. So Mr. Seller, we talked about my track record and my experience. And I don't want you to take that lightly because I know you're interviewing 4 other agents. I know commission's important to you. Let's bring the elephant right back into the room. No, don't be afraid of it. I know commission's important to you. So I want to recap and remind you, nobody's sold more real estate. I've sold, and if that's not true, rephrase how that is. I've sold 35 homes in Merrimack in 2 years. Like nobody, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who knows the town better than I do. But then you got to nail benefit number 1. You got to tie it together. Did the other agent, the other 3 agents that you've met with, did they give you a list like I did of all the homes, the list prices and the sales prices? Because when they say, no, they didn't do that, and we fucking know they didn't do that, you're creating doubt in their mind. Now, you're going to win this, baby. But if you didn't, what I like to say is I blow them up. I make it so they can't sleep at night. They're thinking about, geez, did I make the wrong decision? Did the other agents do that? No, they didn't. Okay. What's the second benefit?
Having the team behind me.
Hey, let's talk about the
and
team.
The brand, the RE/MAX brand.
Team, RE/MAX. Okay, tell me why RE/MAX versus Keller Williams, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, and all the other ones.
That's when I would throw the statistics that we have in a listing appointment at them. The numbers that are in there. I don't know them off the top of my head right now, but it's right there in the listing packet, how much we've sold. I also actually put in the Facebook posting that we had just been ranked #1 top teams.
Yep. Okay. So this is great. Let's add 5 offices. 5 offices. How many agents do you have, Josh?
100.
100 plus agents. They're full-time. Is that still true? Is everybody full-time at RE/MAX?
No, it depends how you define full time, right? But they're all actively selling agents.
Yeah, they're business-minded, right? So they're 100 agents. We outproduce 2-to-1 margin. So these are the benefits, right? Let's tie it together. So when I tie this together, I say, hey, so Chris, hey, Chris, do you enjoy sports?
God, I love it. Love sports.
So, and if they go, no, I really don't. Do your kids like sports? Does your husband like sports? So if they don't give me the answer I want, I ask another question so that I get the answer I want so that I can use the analogy, right? So I want to use sports as an analogy. So Chris, pick a sport. What's your so if you go, no, I don't really like sports. Oh, my kid plays football. Oh, great. Do you know any football players? So do you know any basketball players? So they go, yeah. So if you were going to pick somebody for your team, who would you pick, Chris? What sport and who would you pick? Living, dead, anybody, greatest of all time, who would you pick? You don't have to pick the greatest. You can pick anybody. You can pick your daughter because you like her.
Celtics and Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Why did you choose Larry Bird?
Just brings back a lot of memories of past memories and games that I've been to. The greatest team, they had the greatest 5 starters out there. They were unstoppable.
Did Larry ever win any games, last second shots, or did he win it?
Yeah.
Is he I don't know. Larry Bird you can play dumb. Is he in the Hall of Fame? So you get them selling you on Larry Bird. This is called using stories and metaphors to connect real estate, which they don't fucking understand, to something that they understand at a high level. So I go, you pick Larry Bird because he's the greatest of all freaking time. You have an opportunity to hire someone for your home. Who are you going to pick? Somebody that produces half the production that we do? Somebody that doesn't sell any real estate in Merrimack? Is this making sense, Mr. Seller? So I tie it together. So after each benefit, I tie it together and I go, is this making sense? Then they go, yeah, I didn't look at it that way. Okay, what's the third benefit? Why should I pick you and pay you a higher commission than anybody else?
I try to focus my listing presentation on what they told me their hot buttons were to begin with, right? So it's fluid. But I would pick something like either, professional photography, marketing, social media posts, closing coordinator. I mean, it kind of depends on where the ball got dropped with them prior, right? Which, closing checklist to make sure nothing's missed. It kind of depends on what their hot buttons are, I guess.
So professional photography is a good one. I like that one. I'll leave it up to you to pick. And I want to show examples. I want to show examples with the black. Did I ever do this with you guys with the black marker where I mark out the agent and the company and I show them a shitty, an MLS listing with no picture? And then the way that I say that is I say, now, the way that your property is positioned matters. Price is a function of supply and demand. Have you ever looked at anything online? Have you ever shopped for anything online, Chris?
Yes.
If it doesn't have a photo, are you likely to purchase it or not?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you're not going to believe this. And because I hold myself to a high standard and I would never disparage the competition, but take a look at this. This is an agent who you probably know, pretty popular, well-known agent in the market. Look, no picture. No picture. You're going to pay somebody, you mentioned 4.5% to put your property in the MLS and upload it to all the websites, and there's no picture. How pissed would you be, Chris? Now, you're not going to believe this, but here's another one. And I blacked their name out too and their company. Look at this picture. It was taken with a cell phone through the car window. So if you're going to use professional photography, use it, black out the names, and then show them, contrast what yours looks like. I'll give you a couple of others. I would do your buyer list, your database. You got how many people in your database receiving property updates? A shit ton. Can you show people that list? Here's my list. Look, it's all these pages. 600 buyers receiving property updates. And that's just us. And we have 100 other agents. I'll transition into a trial close, which is the next piece, but I want to give you a couple of others. How about what we spend on marketing? A P&L. So I used to show people, $40,000 a month. Signage, internet, websites, telegraph, radio, TV, 50,000. Any of the other agents you're meeting with show you, 5,000. Nobody's showing people their P&L. So you could get a P&L from Josh, from the team. I know Josh spends money to run his business. So did anybody else show you that? Now, after you do 3, you pick your best 3. Whatever you can sell, make sure you engage them. Then we're going to trial close them. We haven't gone on to price yet. So after I show them the professional photos, for example, after I've done 3 benefits, I say, are you starting to see that little things matter? That there's a lot more to getting your home sold at the top of the market than just picking any rando who's got a license? Oh, yeah, this is helpful. Nobody else did this. Good. That's what we want to have happen. Then I want to say, are you comfortable with my skills and qualifications, or would you like to hear more about what we do? Right? How detailed do you want me to go? How granular do you want me to be? Well, no, we just really want to know the price. Now I'm watching their body language. If I need to sell more, I'm going to give them benefits 4 and benefits 5. Before I go on to price and commission, I need them to pick me. If they throw out to me, well, how much, boy, you do a good job. This sounds like it's going to cost a lot. It actually isn't. It's not going to cost you a lot. Because price is driven by supply and demand, we're going to get your home sold for more than anybody else. So it's not going to cost you a lot. Don't worry about it. What do you charge? We haven't even gone over the market yet. We'll get to that, right? Don't let them continue in a corner. So I trial close them. Basically, if I'm not feeling it, if I feel that, I'm talking to deaf ears, or they're glazed over, I told you I'm going to drop the grenade. I'm not going to give them price. I'm not going to give them commission. And I'm going to say this. And I don't want you to say this. If you do what I tell you to do, you won't have to say this. It'll be 1 out of 100 where somebody is just not listening to you, where they're not engaging with you. But the 1 out of the 100, if I go, it sounds like you've made your mind up. Sounds like you've got another agent in mind, and that's totally fine. I'm cool. I'll live. My family will be okay. I wish you well. Well, Brian, we haven't talked about price. Well, can I make a recommendation? You should choose your agent based on track record, experience, marketing budget, what they do, not on the price that they give you. If you're going to pick an agent on price or commission, how about we do 2 million? And I'm flippant, right? How about we just put it on the market for 2 million? Would that make any sense? But it sounds like you guys made a decision. And if you change your mind, you guys have my card. Give me a call. I'm here for you. What I want now, it's not over. I'm not packing up and walking out. It's a tactic. It's a strategy. I want them to go, no, no, no. Okay, so who is most qualified? Out of the 4 people you met, who is the most qualified? They've got to pick me. When they pick me, then I'll go on to price. So then I go on to price. That's easy. You'll crush that. We can do a really good job in engaging them, but give them the disclaimer. And the disclaimer sounds like this. Okay, so now is it okay if we go on to price in the marketing? What the price range of homes like yours are falling in? And they go, yeah, that'd be great. All right, before we do, I'm going to simplify things for you. Some homes are bigger, some homes are smaller. No 2 homes are identical. Some homes are older, some are newer, some have upgrades and amenities, some don't. So when we compare your home to other homes, keep in mind, we're looking at homes and to keep it simple, this one's smaller, yours is bigger. If yours is bigger and newer, is it worth less or more than the home that recently sold? If your home's bigger and newer, my home would be worth more. Wow, you guys are sharp. You get this. Let's go on, take a look at some recent sales. So then I look at recent sales. Now, I don't know about you guys, and I'll tell you what I do, and you'll make it your own. I'm not trying to turn you into me, but I'm prepared to look at actives, but I don't. I don't look at expireds and withdrawns because I don't want to confuse them. If you suffocate them with data, you're going to get, well, let me look at this and get back to you, which is not an answer I want to hear. So I want to make it simple. So I look at recent sales and I go from low to high. And I actually want the first one to irritate them, to anger them. So if you want to get this house at, what's the price you want to list it at, Chris?
Probably $579.
$579? Okay, so the first one might be $475. It's going to be an inferior house, right? But it's in Merrimack. It's 2 miles away. It's 3 bedrooms, not 4. It's older. So I'm gonna pepper a low baller in there. And when they get pissed, I'm gonna go, hey, time out. Hold on. Hold your horses. Remember what I said? I said some homes are bigger, some homes are smaller. This home's smaller, but it's sold, and I'm the messenger. My job is to show you what's going on in the market. Your house is worth more. Can we go on to the next one? What do you think they say? Please.
Yeah.
So now I'm still in control. So the next one might be 500. The next one might be 530. Still, these are probably inferior, correct? If they've sold for less and you're feeling that it's worth 579, 590 might be superior. So this one is probably bigger, more amenities. So then I say, based on these that have recently sold, where do you feel the top of the market is? And they go, well,
I want 590.
I agree. You guys are sharp. Have you ever thought about getting your real estate license? Josh is hungry. So like I engage them, I play with them, I'm having a conversation with them. And then I go to the net sheet. So we want to make it easy for them to make a decision. So now at 590 or whatever, 579, if you decide, well, this one's a little bit bigger. So, they go, well, maybe 580. So we get to the net sheet, and do they have a mortgage on the property?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. So if they did, I would say, what's the biggest expense when selling your house? So I make the mortgage bad. I make the mortgage the bad guy. Don't do that here because they don't have a mortgage. So then I just say, okay, based on 579, you don't have a mortgage. Congratulations. That's awesome. Most people do. You should be really proud of yourselves. You've got a lot of equity in the house. So don't be in a rush. Like, engage them, feed their soul, go through all the expenses, commission, how I present it. Well, let me ask you, do you think it's important the words that come out of my mouth? Do you think that the words that come out of my mouth, when I'm going to put a number here, influences people in my favor, or it could influence people out of my favor? This is a vital organ. So a vital organ, heart, lungs, liver, skin, brain, remove any one of those organs from your body, you're dead. Which one is important? Which one would you let me pick? You're dead. They're all important. So these components that I'm sharing with you are vital organs. If you don't do them, you could lose. You'd be dead. So when I do the net sheet and I say, okay, based on a sales price of 579, no mortgage payment, and I compliment them and go, you should be really proud of yourself. Most people, very few people don't have a mortgage. Most have very little equity in the house. You guys have done a great job. Congratulations. This is what not to say. So I want to give you contrast. Our commission is 7%. You don't want to say it that way. So instead, you take the dollar amount in your calculator. So at 579, this is what I would do. 579, let's just say it's 6%. So I do it in my calculator. I don't do it so that they can see it. I just go, let me calculate all of your real estate fees. And I want you to say the word all 3 times. All of your real estate fees, Mrs. Seller, to include all cooperation with all agents and cooperation with all area brokerages, over 6,000 agents or whatever that number is. Find out how many agents are in your MLS, how many companies are in your MLS. All of your real estate fees, to include all brokerages, to include all agents, will be $34,740. If they say, what percentage is that? I answer the question. Don't panic. It's a question. I go, it's 6%. It includes everyone, everything. I want their brain to go, holy shit, this isn't, they think it's your money. So we need to spend a little bit of time here using 3 alls, all of your real estate fees. There's a lot of shit included here. So if they go 6%, oh my God, that's a 1.5% more. Okay, so if you sell your house for 500 with someone else and you save 1.5%, are you better off or worse off? So if they give you a hard time about it, the mind can't differentiate fact from fiction. I know that probably the worst agent in the lot of 4 is going to get them more than 500,000 for their house because the market delivers the value. But I say, if another agent sells your house for 500,000 and you save 1.5%, are you better off or worse off than selling your home for 590? Because their brain has to answer it. They go, well, I'm better off with you. Right. And then we're moving on. It's over. If you're not charging a transaction fee, talk about how you provide all those services and you don't charge them for it. You include it in your fee, but other companies hide a transaction fee in the deal, and it can be as much as $1,000 or $1,500. In your case, it's 0. So put in 0, but sell it. Right? Anything that you do or don't do, we sell it. Tax prorations are paid twice a year. You don't escrow your taxes. So depending on when we close, you'll either have a tax obligation of a few months, a couple of months, or you'll have a tax credit. Based on the closing, when we get an offer, we'll let you know what that is. Hey, I'm curious. Just check in with them here. Did the other agents go through all this with you?
No,
What?
no, they didn't.
You're kidding me. Is this important to you, Mr. Seller? Does knowing what your expense is, or do you like surprises?
I know this is extremely helpful.
Okay, good. So let me continue. Do you see how I'm doing that? I'm engaging. I'm not in a rush to get to the bottom line. I want to do a thorough job. No, are you doing any repairs? So no repairs. We're selling the property in its current condition. You don't have a mortgage, so there's no prepayment penalty. But Mr. Seller, do you see that we leave no stone unturned? There are no surprises with us. We cover everything. Inspection, we make the buyer pay. So sometimes buyers want to have an inspection if they want to. That's their cost. Closing fees, recording fees, to prepare the deed. I don't know, what is that, a few $100 today? So I put in a $300 amount. Points, if a buyer wants to buy down their rate, wants to go with a government guaranteed loan, there's points and costs associated with it. Many ask the seller to pay for it. We will either roll it into the price of the house in an inflated amount so it doesn't come out of your pocket, but we make the buyer pay for any costs associated with mortgage. Do you see how we're saving you money? You know, you might get a less experienced agent, a lower commission, but there's all kinds of landmines that can pop up. There are no miscellaneous or hidden charges. And then based on 579, okay, so the state of New Hampshire will charge you $4,342.50. So then is it okay if I calculate this for you?
Yes, please.
So I calculate it and I go, based on these numbers, selling at this price, you'll walk away with approximately this much money. Will that work for you? Now I've taken their focus from sales price, from commission, to what they'll walk away with. And I say, will that work for you? They might say, if they say yes, we continue. If they go, well, we were hoping for more. I understand, but this has been the hottest market in the history of real estate. And we didn't really talk about timing, but interest rates are going up. Do you think that's going to have an impact or a downward pressure on price? Mm-hmm. So if they give you an obstacle here, don't let them corner you on the commission. Talk about the market. Change their focus, control their focus. So rates are going up. More and more listings are coming to the market. So buyers have choices. When buyers have choices, what does that mean to pricing? Buyers are calling the shots. So the time appears to be when. When is the best time? It looks like it's right now. The other thing I might say in today's market is, hey, an option is that you could stay if you're prepared to stay for 10 years. They'll be like, so that sometimes sellers go, oh, we'll just stay. We're just going to keep our house. That's an option. Are you willing to do that for 10 years? What do you mean? Real estate goes in cycles. It's not going to get any better than it is today. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a lot of experience. So will that work? And then I want to ask an easy question. What would be an easy question to move forward? Something like, I see that you have 2 cats. Are there any special showing instructions? Or I don't pounce on them. I don't go for the contract, right? I get momentum. Yeah. So do you have any special showing instructions? Or, our photographers today are backed up. I have some leverage. We have some pull. Like if I can get them in here, is there a day that works better for you? And then once they answer favorably to the easy questions, then I go with the easy paperwork.